Adam Christ from MyMMANews.com, being joined by PFL's Jordan Young. And in case you don't know, he fights out of American Top Team. He is a PFL light heavyweight, and he has a premiere episode of Prep Point, which is airing on YouTube Thursdays at 10 a.m. Eastern. First of all, I got to thank my man for joining me. Jordan, how are you, brother?
My man, I like your shirt. We got the Wu-Tang vibes going.
We got to get you one, man, with the MyMMANews logo on it. They upset. Hey, we got to get you one.
Yeah.
So first things first, man. How are you, man?
I'm doing well. I'm enjoying the South Florida weather. Just had a great day. A couple training sessions. Just kind of winding down now.
Awesome. So tell us about Prep Point, man. You know, the media's been getting the emails about it coming out. You're going to be the premiere episode. Tell us what we can expect from the actual Prep Point show, and what can we expect from your episode?
So the Prep Point show is really cool. It comes out Thursday. Be sure to check that out. I believe it's showing at 10 a.m. Eastern time, if I'm not mistaken. And, Lillian Garcia led the interview. And, of course, people would know her from not only her podcast, but she was a WWE announcer and super cool chick. This was my first time speaking with her. And it was my first look at, the PFL setup in terms of, anything involved in the promotion. They had a great setup for the interview. The background was really cool. There was a lot of dope questions. It wasn't necessarily focused on just the sport of MMA. Like, a lot of times as MMA fighters, the interviews are just strictly MMA. This was about me as a person a little bit, and I got to be a little more human, if you will. And I feel like it'll give fans a good insight onto what I'm like as a person.
Okay, so we're not going to let too much out of the bag. People are going to have to tune into that one. I like that. So when you came over to PFL, you wanted the consistency. You had the guaranteed fights and everything. And unfortunately, with the pandemic, which obviously nobody can really plan for, things kind of got shut down with the 2020 season. Can you tell us your thoughts on that, coming and expecting something and not necessarily receiving what was expected?
Yeah, so I had just finished my contract officially, I believe, a month and a half, 2 months prior to the pandemic starting and everything. So I had no idea this was going to happen, and I was taken by surprise just like everybody else. It kind of came out of the blue, and fortunately though for me, I've had great communication with the PFL, and since it's happened, I feel like they've done a great job of transitioning the focus to other things. Like, they've had me busy with media and handling obligation for them, you know what I mean? So it's been good to have other things to do.
And you're not one to make excuses at all. I mean, from any interview you've seen, you don't make the excuses. But the torn labrum was a big deal, and you kept taking fights, and it kept progressively getting worse. You finally got the surgery. Is this almost like a silver lining because you get extra time off to repair the injury, make sure you're in better shape going into the 2021 season?
Yeah, no, 100%. So my first fight for the PFL would have been win in May, and I was gonna rock that out. And at that time I was just finishing clearance from surgery, and I felt good. Now I feel better. I feel great, and I want to give a shout out to my physical therapist, Dr. Christiana Marin, here in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. I believe now we're going on 9 months post-op versus we were 6.5 going on 7 when we would have fought. So the extra couple months has been a big difference, and it's going to translate well into my performance for sure.
I'm looking forward to it because, I mean, obviously you weren't in top shape for your last fight. You were hurt in the past couple fights. You've been hurt. Again, you don't make excuses. So what can fans really expect now that you're 100%? Because you were undefeated before that fight. Now you're getting back to that 100% status. That's a scary animal. What can fans expect from you coming back?
I think it's going to be entertaining, not only the fact that I'm getting back to 100%, but now the fights have just got a whole lot more high level. We're not talking about lower level guys or regional guys anymore. Not that those weren't tough fights or those guys were gimmies, but they were regional guys. These guys are established. They've had fights on the bigger show. They've been in the PFL. They've been on that stage before. So I think it's going to bring the best out of me, 100%.
And I'm glad to see that PFL is utilizing you because, and it's no knock on any promotion, but I think you've said it before. I don't think that Bellator saw the athlete that they had. I think PFL sees the value in such an athlete, and I think it's going to be big, big things for you. But again, like we said, some of the fighters, they're disappointed because the 2020 season been scrapped. They've been keeping you busy. And then you have some other fighters, I'm not going to name names, that are complaining about the monthly stipends. Anything you can add from your perspective on that?
Yeah, I think the PFL did the best thing they could by canceling the season, not only for the fans, but for the safety of their staff and their fighters. And, they made the best of the situation they could by offering the stipend. Something's better than nothing. And, for anybody complaining on it, it's just crazy to think that, like, anybody would complain on free money. I know it was their decision to cancel the season, but they're in a tough spot. They're a season-run show. If they were doing, like, cards, if it was PFL, 28 or whatever, you know what I'm saying, then it might be a little different. And I believe that they would have been able to be patient, sit back and pick their moves. But if they're a tournament format and it takes 8 months to complete their tournament and they know that they're not going to do anything in that time frame, then it only made sense for them to back down. And, the stipend is what it is, you know what I mean? It's something that's given to us, and, I'm appreciative for it, and I don't have any negative thoughts on it.
So I want to talk to you about the tournament because it's such an interesting feature to fighting, period. I love the tournaments that have happened from back in the day to Pride, even nowadays with PFL. You've never been involved in a tournament, if I'm not mistaken. Tell me your thoughts on that. Entering a tournament, so many in, one's coming out with that big prize. Tell me your thoughts on that and being in it.
I love it. I love the playoff factor as well, because some guys don't even get to say that they partook in the tournament. Some of these guys got to go home, you know what I mean? So right off the bat, it makes it entertaining, and it makes it, the point system makes it, gives you something to, like, finish for, you know what I mean? The earlier you get to finish, the better off it is for you. So it creates some wild scenarios, and I think that the format is something refreshing for MMA. Everybody's doing the same things with the cards, and to switch it up and do something like this, and then get all these different people, Lillian Garcia, Mike Tyson, Kevin Hart, all these, these different names bringing different eyes to the sport. I love it.
I want to talk to you about the pandemic before we start closing down. Obviously, it was crazy for everybody, but with everything going on right now, PFL's keeping you busy. They're doing their thing with Prep Point, and you being the premiere episode. How are you able to stay in shape, do your thing, and still stay above water and just stay happy when the world is just seemingly up in arms? I'd like to close on a positive note.
Yeah, 100%. So I got to give a shout out to Dan Lambert and American Top Team. It's the best team in the world, and the best coaching staff, the best fighters in the world. Dan Lambert's been looking out for us. He got us some coronavirus testing, and we've been on top of that. And, even though South Florida has high numbers for coronavirus, we've been practicing social distancing. We have smaller groups for training, and everything is segmented. We don't have anybody from the public allowed in the gym right now. And then with the coronavirus testing, on top of people coming through to clean and sterilize everything day in, day out, we've been avoiding the virus. If you look at a lot of the cards that have been thrown since the virus has started, it's been ATT fighters in the main events and those top slots. So
a couple things before we wind down. I wanted to ask you, what's it like being a made man at American Top Team?
It feels good to be respected. It feels good to be amongst the best. It feels good to walk in the gym and look up and see yourself on the wall next to some of the best fighters in the world. You know what I mean? I remember the first time I walked in American Top Team, it actually wasn't in the location we're at now. It was like 5 minutes down the road from where we're at. And it was like, this gym is much more, I don't want to say cleaner, but it's like a cleaner look. Everything is polished and very bright. That gym was a little darker, and it had a little bit more of a grimy feel to it, but it still was a beautiful gym. And I remember walking in there in 2014, getting ready for my first pro fight. And I actually wasn't even training there, like, for the camp. It was just, I was getting ready for a jiu-jitsu tournament in Florida, and I was there. And I remember looking up and seeing, like, Hector Lombard and Thiago Alves on the wall, and Dustin Poirier, and it was just like, those were like gods among men, you know what I'm saying? So to be up there on the wall is just like an insane thought all in itself. That was the first thing that I earned. And then from next, I want to put something in the championship boxes that we have in the front of the gym, you know what I mean? I think that's the next step for me, and that'll raise me up the level, you know what I mean, from being an enforcer to maybe being some type of capo or something, you know?
I'm interested to see how this mob process lays out. It's really interesting to hear how you're laying it out, man. It really is. Couple things before I let you go. I want you to let the fans know final thoughts on Prep Point. We know we can catch it at Thursdays, 10 a.m. Eastern on YouTube. Final thoughts on PFL's Prep Point from the inaugural episode, man.
Yeah, I think it's a great, it's something that the fans, whether you're a fan of MMA or you're just a fan of sports in general, if you like athletes and their stories, then it's something to check out. And they have a dope, not only fighters, but the people who are interviewing are dope as well. And not just myself, but the episodes coming after me have some very interesting athletes as well. You got Chris Camozzi, a 19-time UFC vet. I'm looking forward to his episode. I want to see what this guy's about. You know, I've seen him fight multiple times, but I haven't really heard him speak, and I'm interested to see what he has going on. I don't know who else they did episodes on. I just know his name, but yeah, I think that it's something that fans should check out and learn about the athletes before the 2021 season kicks off.
All right, there we go. Jordan Young, I appreciate your time, man. I look forward to seeing you in the 2021 season. I'm getting my all years mixed up now. I can't wait to see you get back in there, do your thing, and get back on top, man. I appreciate you taking the time today.
Yeah, no worries. Say, Adam, I appreciate the interview. And real quick, I just want to tell everyone that's watching and listening that they can catch me on Instagram at JAY185. That's J185. And also, I want to give a quick shout out to my physical therapist, Dr. Christiana Marin in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. I want to give a shout out to the PFL. I want to give a big thank you to Dan Lambert and American Top Team for everything they do for me. And I also would like to thank all of my sponsors and everybody that helps me behind the scenes with my ambitions. So, yeah. Once again, check out my episode of Prep Point Thursday at 10 a.m. Eastern Time.
Thursday, 10 a.m. Eastern, Prep Point with Jordan Young. You can catch it again on YouTube. Jordan, I appreciate you taking the time. For Jordan Young, I am Adam Christ. Make sure you keep it locked to MyMMANews.com for all your fight news needs.